Welcome back. If you are a Muslim, then you must be looking forward to tomorrow. You've had 30 days of fasting and praying as the religion requires you to do. Ramadan is the ninth month of the Islamic calendar and the month in which Muslims believe that the Quran was revealed, and the Quran enjoins them to fast and pray and give alms and do self-denial, keep vigil. All those things happen especially during Ramadan, and this is common with almost all religions. So the fasting is due to end tonight, and celebrations, Salah, will be tomorrow. To discuss the importance of this season with us, we have the National Assistant Secretary General of NASFAT, Alhaji Mustafa Ade Bello.
Alaikum.
Alaikum salam. We know how to answer to that one. We also have the Chief Missioner, Al Fatil Qarib Muslim Organization of Nigeria, Fadlu Rahman Tijani.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to listeners and the audience over there.
Thank you very much for coming. Now, it seems like every year during this season we come together and look at the lessons of Ramadan. This year it becomes more so for us to look at the lesson of Ramadan because of the happenings around the world and the happenings in Nigeria concerning the Muslim faithful. Let me begin with you, sir. What are the lessons of this season?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek Allah's protection against the devil. I want to start in His name, the beneficent, the most merciful. The basic lesson from the fasting in the month of Ramadan has to do with discipline. The discipline of the mind. Because a disciplined person is a successful person. And that is why Almighty Allah enjoins all Muslims to fast for a whole month so that we will be in the school of discipline. And at the end of the month, we have to apply whatever we have learned in the remaining 11 months of the year. This discipline has to do with the God consciousness, that we remember that God is with us anywhere we are, wherever we are, and at any time in point. So that whatever we do in secret, we know that Almighty Allah is there with us. Whatever we do in the public, we know Almighty Allah is taking record. And whatever we do, we have to do it to earn the pleasure of Almighty Allah through our interactions with other fellow human beings. That is the basic lesson of the fasting in the month of Ramadan, discipline. And that one covers everything in our lifetime.
Alhaji Bello, would you have any more to add to that regarding the lessons of this season?
I think it has been properly put that it's about discipline, it's about reinvention of one's faith. Because human beings by nature are prone to evils and sins. And that's why Ramadan will come once every year. So that whatever you must have forgotten about all the lessons, all the virtues that religions ordinarily teaches, you will remember and you will bring forth those attitudes, those conducts, so that after leaving Ramadan, you can now manifest those attitudes that you have allowed to permeate your entire life for about 30 days in the subsequent months before another Ramadan comes around.
Pardon my asking, do you think that the fundamentalists actually are on the same page with you on this?
Well, it depends on what your own definition of.
You know what I'm talking about.
Fundamentalist. I think the issue is there is what we call a disconnect between what religion actually preaches and what people do, and there is too much ignorance that we find around. A scholar, a Pakistani, wrote a book many years ago about Islam, and he called it Islam between incompetent scholars and ignorant followers. So when you have people who are not competent about religion, who don't even really know what religion connotes, and you have a large number, hundreds of thousands, even millions of ignorant people who follow such scholars, and the consequence is what you have around us today. Because after all, what does religion preaches? Peace with yourself, peace with your God, and peace with your society. So if anybody now, you find anybody under the guise of religion, now perpetrating evil or what you call violence, killings, then that person does not represent religion, particularly Islam.
Chief Missioner, some people have actually gone as far as saying that those people we're talking about are not even Muslims at all, because nothing in Islam justifies their actions.
Really, if some people have said that, they may be correct to a very large extent. Because Islam, right from inception, Islam, the word means peace. And one of the attributes of Almighty Allah is As-Salam, the source of peace. And Allah enjoins that we live in peace. Like my brother has just said, we live in peace with Him, we interpret it, and we apply it in our own interaction with other fellow human beings to be in peace. Politically, we have to be in peace with other people. Economically, we have to be in peace with other people. Socially, we have to interact fairly with other people so that peace will be in our community. For those people who are perpetrating evil, it is unfortunate that many people will just attribute it to Islam. Islam is never synonymous to violence at any point in time. Right from the time of Prophet Adam, والسلام, to Prophet Muhammad, والسلام, about 240,000 prophets were sent. And we have never read that any of them was so violent in their preachings. So if any adherent is claiming that he's professing a particular religion, especially Islam, and is becoming violent, that one cannot be Islam at any time, any day, anywhere. So those people are not really Muslims.
Okay. What is the significance of the Lesser Hajj, which people embark upon at this time?
Lesser Hajj, which is Umrah, is the reason why people do it in Ramadan. It could be done outside Ramadan. But because in Ramadan, whatever good, virtuous deed that you do, you are recompensed in multiples. And that's why a lot of Muslims who have the wherewithal, the resources to do Umrah, would prefer to do it during the month of Ramadan. And particularly, one of the beauties, one of the gifts which Allah has given to us in Ramadan is a night, which in the language of the Quran is worth more than 1,000 nights. That night comes in one of the nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And that's why a lot of Muslims who could afford it would prefer to have such night meeting them while in the presence of the Kaaba, the Holy Mosque there. So that is just the connection between Umrah in Ramadan and performing such. But Umrah can be done outside Ramadan.
Do some people do it?
People do it
outside
Ramadan. Oh. You can even do it as a prelude to Hajj. There is a form of Hajj that you have to do the Umrah, that you come out of the white clothing, the white garment clothing that you are done. You come out of it for some days, then you readorn it again for the purpose of performing Hajj.
Okay. We have also heard about the stoning of the devil. What's that?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly add something to the Lesser Hajj. The performance of Lesser Hajj is to bring together the children of Adam and Hawa all over the world. And by the time...
Hawa, what's that?
Hawa, that is Eve.
Okay.
Adam and Eve.
Okay.
By the time people converge at Mecca, performing the Lesser Hajj from different nations, different languages, you will now understand how to interact better with other people from other parts of the globe. And that one even teaches unity, teaches better understanding. So that because it's when you understand other people's culture, you understand their nature, you'll be able to interact better with them. And transferring that one back home, you will now live in peace with members of your community. That is one advantage. Now, the stoning of the devil, the physical aspect of it is 50%. The spiritual aspect of it is another 50%. It is symbolic. The way Prophet Ibrahim والسلام, and the wife, also the children, stoned the devil when the devil wanted to dissuade them from performing the right which Almighty Allah commanded them to do. So if anybody goes there and stones the devil, is to say that the devil that has been following me from here, I'm dropping you here. Don't follow me back home. That is the essence of stoning the devil there. It is both physical and spiritual. But people see the physical aspect, forgetting the spiritual. In fact, anybody that goes on lesser Hajj or the Hajj proper, by the time you return home, you should become a reborn person. And the devil should keep away from you, and you should also keep away from the devil. That is the essence.
Okay.